Okay, 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 okay. Huh. Yeah.
A lot of people don't like the black and the brown together. It becomes a lot of jealousy, hate.
In the 80s, it was kind of groundbreaking that you had black and brown in the same clique, getting along, having fun, partying, all over music and hip hop, how it started.
So we was deep. We was more deep than a lot of the people, the cliques that was in the Monica. So
the more we got popular, the more that both sides started hating on us.
We faced a lot of jealousy. It had turned out to be a lot of fighting.
Back then, a lot of racism was going on.
So some of the SA gangs would try to tell the Mexicans with us, hey, y'all can't be with them no more. Or some of the black gangs in Santa Monica wanted us to be with them.
But at the end of the day, we weren't racial. We loved kicking it with all of our friends that we grew up with.
I see it as a positive thing, everybody coming together, the blacks and the Mexicans, because we got to come together as one, man, because if we unite, there ain't no stopping it.
And as it is to this day, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are the biblical Israelites. And the truth is the truth. Whether you want to accept it, whether you like it, love it, believe it, or not. All right? And it's a reason why when you look out into society today, that no matter what, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are always lumped together. You never see them talking about Latinos and Asians lumped together, Negroes and Asians lumped together, Negroes and Africans lumped together, Native Americans and Samoans lumped together, or East Indians lumped together with, no, man. They have you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans always lumped together. And that's not by accident. It's because they know who you are. It's that simple. They have your records. They have your artifacts. They have your history. They have your culture. They have it all locked away in their libraries, and libraries that you can't get in.
As the Ukraine-Russia war drags on, Russian President Vladimir Putin has decided to move one of Russia's holiest icons from a museum to a Moscow cathedral.
Have you ever come across biblical icons that portray Jesus, the Virgin Mary, Elisha, or King Solomon with dark skin? If you have, then you should know that Russia has recently opened its vault to reveal biblical icons featuring darker-skinned figures. This is not an unusual depiction of biblical figures, but rather a factual representation. These icons hold deep meanings and hidden truths, sparking curious questions about history, faith representation, and the unexpected corners of religious art.
Locked away in their libraries, and libraries that you can't get in. So real quick, let's jump into these scriptures. And I'm just going to bring out a couple of scriptures. It ain't going to take that long. And just proof for showing you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that you are the biblical Israelites. This ain't no fairy tale. This ain't no lies. This ain't no deceits. The book that you call the Bible, this is a living book, meaning the words that we are reading, they are actually playing out in life. This is a movie that you're a part of. And the Bible is the movie script. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. And these curses that we're about to go into, this is going to going over the curses that will be happening to who? To all the Israelites. All right, the northern kingdom and southern kingdom. And this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Yeah, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you do not hearken, you do not listen to the voice of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, which the voice, the mouthpiece of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai is who? The prophets. We are out here telling you, constantly warning you, letting you know who you are. And still and yet, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans refuse to hearken, refuse to listen. Because thou hast hearkened not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they, verse 46, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. You see that? So these curses are to be upon us for a wonder and for a sign, or for a sign and for a wonder, upon our seed forever. You see that? So the Israelites are going to have curses put upon them that's going to be placed upon them forever. All right, for a sign, for you to understand who you are. And these curses are going to be put on you forever, meaning for a period of time. And that period of time is to be what? It is to be ended after this captivity, after this modern day Egyptian captivity. All right? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are over here in Babylon the Great, or what you know is the United States, which is spiritually Egypt, spiritually Sodom and Gomorrah. So this is the modern day Egypt. So curses are upon us. Now let's go and get some of these curses. And I'm just gonna go to one curse, which is 68. You know, just making it simple. Like I said, I don't want to keep you for too long. And this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And you can read all these curses, all right? From verse 16 all the way down to 68. Those are the curses that we are under. And this is verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt. Yeah, into Egypt. This is modern day Egypt, America, Babylon the Great. Yeah, we shall be brought where? Over here into Egypt again with ships. How did we come here? By ships.
We want to survive, do, and say as little as possible.
I say we fight. The crew is fairly small. We're well planned. I believe they could be strong on.
3 can't go against the whole crew. The rest here are niggas. Born and bred slaves. Niggas ain't got no stomach for a fight. Not a damn one.
Oh, what's that note? We were traveling. We wish we'd die trying.
Survival's not about certain death. It's about keeping your head down.
Days ago, I was with my family. In my home.
I don't see him. Clemens? Clemens Ray! Clemens? Mr. Ray, stop! Who's in charge here? I'm the captain. I'm Mr. Jonas Ray. My solicitor has documentation verifying the Negro known as Clemens Ray is my property. I know nothing.
How did you natives get here? By ships. When did you get here? When did you come here? After the Assyrian captivity that you can read about where? You can read about it in 2 Esdras chapter 13, verse 40, and on down. Once again, 2 Esdras chapter 13, verse 40, and on down. That's where you can read how you came over here on ships. And how did the southern kingdom, all right, which is the Negroid tribes, or what you know today as the so-called African Americans, so-called Haitians, so-called Jamaicans, how did we get here? By ships, the transatlantic slave trade. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. So we have not seen our land no more again. Where is our land? Our land is the land of Israel, where you have a bunch of phonies, a bunch of heathens, setting up shop, relaxing, kick back and reclined in our land, claiming to be us. This is what's going on. This is the truth of the matter. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. So over here in Egypt, aka America, Babylon the Great, we would be sold unto our enemies. Who are our enemies? The main arch enemy of all our enemies is the red boy, Mr. Mayonnaise himself, the so-called YT man.
One of the most hidden chapters of history is how Native Americans were sold into the Caribbean slave trade. In the 1600s, English colonists in New England waged wars against tribes like the Pequot and Wampanoag. Prisoners of war, including women and children, were not freed. They were sold. Ships carried native captives from Massachusetts and Rhode Island to islands like Barbados and Jamaica, where they were exchanged for sugar, rum, and African slaves. Some were even branded and treated as property far from their homelands. This trade devastated native nations. Families were torn apart. Entire villages were emptied. Colonists profited twice, by selling native captives abroad and by bringing back enslaved Africans to labor in their place. The stories of those native people have been almost completely erased from history books. But oral traditions in both native and African-descended communities in the Caribbean still carry memories of their presence. The truth is, native slavery and African slavery were not separate systems. They were deeply connected, both built on stolen lives. If this erased history deserves to be remembered, share this.
All right. So we will be sold unto our enemies for bond man and bond woman, slave man and slave woman, and no man shall buy you, meaning no man shall redeem you. All right, remove you out of the captivity. And therefore we have remained and we are still up under captivity, because no man shall remove us from it. No man shall buy us from it, because it's going to take more than a man. All right, it's going to take Yahushua to redeem us from this. And when he comes back, the scriptures tell you he's not coming back as a man. He's coming back in his what? In his glory, in his power. Meaning he's coming back in his celestial body. No longer returning in his terrestrial body, which we are in our terrestrial bodies. So, going to Hosea. This is Hosea chapter 1. Going to verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. Yeah, we are as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And anybody and everybody should know that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, when it comes to making children, when it comes to producing seed, hey man, we are by far. And when I say that word by far, I mean we are by far the only nation that can produce how we produce. No Edomites can produce how we produce. No, and when I say Edomites, meaning the so-called mayonnaise man, the so-called YT man. No East Indians or Elam can produce how we produce. No Asians, no Moab, which is the so-called Chinese, Ammon, which is the so-called Japanese, Africans, which is Ham, Ishmael, which is these Arab. None of these nations can produce how we produce. Yet the number of the children of Israel should be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people. So what place? Where it is said that we are not the Lord's people, that it is said we are not the Israelites. But yet you have the prophets telling you that you are the Israelites over here in Egypt, where we have been sent. And how did we get sent over here? On ships. And where is this new Egypt? America. So over here in the Americas, this is where it is said that we are not the children of Israel. But yet you have the prophets coming out, waking you up to who you truly are and telling you that you are the children. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it is said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. Yeah, you are the sons of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. You see that? In that same place where it was said that they wasn't the people, in that same place it's going to be said that they are the people. And who's out doing this work to tell you? The prophets. Where did you Where do you see so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans standing on the street corners with the scriptures in their hands, telling you that you are the children of the living power? You see that? Over here in the Americas. And mainly in Babylon the Great, or what you know as the United States of America. But we have prophets scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Why? Because the children of Israel have been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Verse 11. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel, the children of Judah representing the southern kingdom, and the children of Israel representing the northern kingdom, be gathered together and appoint themselves one head. And who's that one head? Yahushua. We are being gathered together, being gathered back to who we are, which we are the biblical Israelites, and appointing ourselves one head, which is Yahushua. You see? And they shall come out of the land. We soon to be brought up out of this captivity, brought up out of this land. Why? Because we shall be redeemed. We shall be brought. We shall be paid for. Actually, we already been paid for by the blood of Yahushua. He paid for our sins. So he shall redeem us, bring salvation, deliverance out of this land. Out of what land? Out of the land of Babylon the Great, and out of the lands that we have been scattered. For great shall the day of Jezreel. So for great shall be the day of Jezreel. And we're approaching that day. Now let's go to the Apocrypha. Going to the Apocrypha, we're going to go to the book of Baruch, head to chapter 4, verse 6. And this is Baruch, chapter 4, verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations. Who were sold to the nations? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the biblical Israelites. Not for your destruction. We didn't get sold for our destruction. The Israelites are still in the earth to this day. You see that? The Israelites are still in the earth at this very point, time, and day. But because ye moved God to wrath, we were sold to the nations because we moved Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua, to wrath. How did we move him to wrath? By what? By idol worshiping other gods, following after the traditions and the customs of the heathens, learning after the heathens. Ye were delivered unto the enemies. And we were delivered unto the enemies. So these heathens have been ruling over us. These heathens have had us in their hands. You see? Verse 7. For ye provoke him that made you by sacrificing unto devils, and not to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua. You see that? You get that? This is the truth of the matter. Going back to the Bible. Going to Jeremiah chapter 50. Verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. The children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. The only times that we have been oppressed together in our history was when? In ancient Egypt and modern day Egypt. Okay, so you want to understand how the natives, how the so-called Latinos know how to make those pyramids, and they all on the same course as the pyramids in ancient Egypt. It's because they helped build those pyramids that's in Egypt. All right, because they was what? They was in slavery in Egypt, just like we were in slavery in Egypt. And now we're over here in the Americas in New Egypt, being oppressed together once again. So if you Negroes want to know why your simple asses were boarded up off the coast of Africa and brought over here into slavery in modern day Egypt, it's so you could it was so you could come back in contact with your brethren, with the Latinos and the natives, to be oppressed over here in the Americas. That's why. Once again, these are the only captivities that we have been oppressed together. When the Southern Kingdom was in upon the Babylonian captivity, the northern kingdom was not with the southern kingdom. When the northern kingdom went in captivity upon the Assyrian captivities, upon the Assyrians, the southern kingdom was not with the northern kingdom. But in Egypt, we was together. And in this new Egypt, which is America, Babylon the Great, we are together once again. So again, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. And this is why we have not been what? Brought back. No man shall buy you. They have refused to let us go. But who's gonna get us out of this captivity? Who shall buy us? Let's find out. Verse 34. Their Redeemer is strong. Yeah. Who's gonna redeem us? Who's gonna buy us back? The deliverer. You see that? The man that shall bring salvation. And who's going to bring that salvation, that deliverance? The Lord of hosts is his name. You see that? That's who's going to do it. The Lord of hosts is his name, Yahweh. All right, the King of kings, Lord of lords. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord. Yeah. So he's coming back to plead our cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. Yeah, gonna give rest to the, hey man, when Yahweh comes back, before he makes his appearance, World War III will be taking place, and them ICBM nuclear missiles will begin to be shot. Salakia will begin to be shot off. All right. And soon to make landfall. And then you shall see Yahweh return with the angelic powers, coming through, shooting out concentrated heat out of the mouth of the chariots, and bringing salvation, deliverance unto the Israelites. A sword is upon the Chaldeans. Who are the modern day Chaldeans? You Americans. All right. So a sword is upon this country, the Americans, saith the Lord, upon the inhabitants of Babylon, aka America, and upon her princes and upon her wise men. And her princes and her wise men know exactly who we are. Once again, they have our artifacts. They have our records. You see? They have all our ancient books. They have these things in their libraries. So real quick, we're going to go to Lamentation. This Lamentation chapter 5, verse 2. Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Yo, once again, as I was stating to you, we have strangers over there in our land. We have these heathen nations in our land claiming to be us, which they are not us, but they're claiming to be us, and they have our inheritance. Yeah, they have our land, the land of Israel. Our houses to aliens. Yeah, they don't belong there. We are orphans and fatherless. Yeah, we are over here in this land of America. We are orphans and fatherless. Yeah, we was once fatherless. We didn't have our father Yahweh at one point in time, but now we have received our father again. Now we have our true heritage, our culture, our customs, our traditions, understanding that we are the biblical Israelites. Thanks to who? Thanks to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai's voice. And what is his voice? The prophets. That's the mouthpiece. And the prophets come out to do what? To bring you back unto who you are, to wake you up, to warn you. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. You see that? Yeah, we labor and have no rest. Over here we are persecuted. And you see the persecution. You see the you see the northern kingdom. You see what the so-called Salakia. You see what the so-called natives and the Latinos are going through right now? You see the persecution of ICE? Or shall I say ICE? And guess what? The persecution is not over with. The hard times, the troubles, the hardship, it's gonna pick up. You have what the scriptures call Jacob's trouble, the tribulation period. So yeah, we're under persecution over here in this land, over here in Babylon the Great. And we labor over here and we have no rest. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans being laboring over here in Americas, and yet you own nothing. You have nothing. You have no standing army. You have no city to call your own. You have no grocery stores, no banks, no nothing. None of that. Everything that you have could be taken away from you over here in this land. You have no say-so. So yeah, you labor and have no rest. And now you over here in this land, and guess what? You have drinking your water for money. You have wood that is sold unto you. These things are ours. All right, the water that you see out here, the wood that you see out, the world, for that matter, the world is ours. This world, this earth was created for us. But yet we are oppressed, and now we have to buy everything from who? From our enemies. Yeah, now we are being oppressed, and now we have to labor, and we have no rest. You see that? Yeah, this is called what? This is called curses. We are up under the curses. So if you want to remove your neck from under the curses, then you have to come back to who you truly are. And once again, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are the biblical Israelites. All right? Once again, you are the biblical Israelites. Shalom.
One of them landed on the airport landing strip area. When it touched the ground, it created an earthquake like about a 3.5 It terrified everybody in the area. The back of this craft opened up, and several hundred young men with huge, heavy weapons came out of two sides of the ship and formed a protection line around the ship. And the people at that Air Force base, the commander, had a meeting with the individuals that were aboard this ship. And this particular race that landed those ships and that are seen in these huge cigar-shaped ships, they are a black race. They look like African Americans. They were about 6'4", 6'5". These tight-fitting black leather outfits on, and the weapons that they came out of the ships with, they were huge weapons. And if you've ever seen a race of people that were conquerors, that had never been conquered, they've got this look about them of arrogance. That is exactly what these